Good afternoon. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to a special edition of Get Real with Rick Dancer. Had someone call me up and say, "Oh my gosh, there's such a great story. The anniversary of the Holly Farm fire is coming up real soon. And for those of us who were evacuated, and I'm one of the lucky ones because I just got evacuated a little bit on the scale, but it's kind of I don't know, it's one of those days you really don't want to remember very badly, but it's something that happened. And so, a lot of us are starting to think about September 6th and what that meant to us and what was going on. So, anyway, I got wind from the wife of Kelly, the man you're going to meet in just a second. And she said, "You should talk to these guys because this is kind of an interesting story." And we had both of them on before, and we had Tiffany on from when she was evacuated at a motel. Talking about what happened. And so I'm going to bring them on and kind of tell you a little bit more. But first, I want to thank Elements Health Clubs Lane County for sponsoring our show. They're super involved in the community, always want to do things with the community. They're not just a gym where you go work out. It's a place where you get involved and participate. And they have a bunch of specials going on right now to get you in. You can get a membership for $29 a month for a single or $49 a month for an expanded premium package. And they have gyms at West 11th, Springfield at Gateway area, and also Oakway Mall area. They have 3 different gyms. So they sponsor the show. And so what you guys know, I always guilt you a little bit. If you like our content, then that's how we get it. So, take care of our clients because they take care of us. So first of all, we're going to bring on Tiffany. There's Tiffany. And you have a new name since we were last here.
Yes.
You got married to that fine young man, didn't you?
I did.
Look at you. So the other thing we should tell them right off the bat that I think is hilarious is I put out a notice when one of the fires burned out my oven. And then it also a week later, my refrigerator died and I had a full freezer and I just put online, "Hey, if anybody needs a freezer." Well, Tiffany's husband now notified me, and I had no idea. And then Tiffany, he came over, and she didn't look the same because it was on the screen, and it was like, and she drives away with my freezer, and my wife goes, "That's Tiffany, the girl you interviewed, that story." And I went, "What? Oh my God, she didn't say anything." And the freezer's still working.
Yeah, we have it packed full in the pump house right now. Thank you again.
You are so welcome. I'm glad somebody got to use it. So, Kelly, welcome to the show. Thank you. As a firefighter in Junction City up on the top. And so, why don't you start, Tiffany? Tell us in the Reader's Digest condensed version of what happened that day and your side of the story. And then we'll go to Kelly and then we'll talk about what's going on now.
Well, the fire started. Gave the fire department a call, didn't need to evac. I was working at Voodoo Donuts at the time. I was working graveyard. So about 9:50, 10 o'clock, I headed to work. I got 28 miles down the road to Cedar Flat and got the emergency evac, called my sister. She woke our 2 6-year-old daughters up, and I proceeded to walk them through how to get out of the house. She soaked their blankets. The windows blew while they were trying to get out of the house. They went the 117 yards through the fire down to the driveway to the road. I was hauling butt all the way back upriver with them on speakerphone, going through roadblocks, hollering my address at anybody I could get to, trying to tell them that my sister was stuck with our daughters. I ran into a Springfield.
Isn't your sister also visually impaired?
Yeah, she's legally blind, and I do believe it's her right eye. I always get them mixed up. But yeah, she's legally blind in one eye, so she can't drive. And I was riding with the fire department after I wrecked my car trying to get upriver. They got the call that they had to turn around because winds had shifted. They had to go back downriver, so we headed the opposite direction. I got out of that vehicle, started running back upriver towards my house. Ran into Officer Brian DeVault from the Eugene Sheriff's Office. He took me part way up. At that point, my sister said she seen headlights. She thought it was us, but it turned out to be Kelly and Dan from the Junction City Fire Department, who had turned around and went to find my address after they had heard it over the radio. And they picked up my sister, my niece, and my daughter. We met them down the road in Blue River, and we spent the night at the track.
So Kelly, you kind of took a big risk there.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did, but I mean, yeah, that's kind of what we knew we had to do.
So you saw them, and there was smoke and fire. There was stuff around. I mean, this wasn't like in a safe place.
Oh no, it was so smoky that the only way we spotted them was we spotted the address on the mailbox, which was on the opposite side of the highway from their driveway. And so Dan Nail, that was with me, saw the address. We stopped, and he yelled, "This is it!" And I turned and looked, and I saw them huddling underneath a coat right at the edge of the driveway. So fortunately, and it was a dark coat, so as smoky as it was, we just barely saw them. So we jumped out, got them loaded back up, and turned around and ran over a tree because it was so smoky you couldn't even see where you were going. So, but we made it.
And so where did you find Tiffany? Because she was downriver a little bit, right?
Tiffany was back at the kind of the command post with the sheriff's department.
So Tiffany, when you pulled up to Kelly, well, I mean, kind of tell me what that was all about.
I was just kind of staring up into space, hoping that they were going to make it to us. And Brian DeVault said, "Oh, there they are." And I just jumped out and I opened the door, seen everybody was fine, and then thanked Kelly and Dan. And they drove them up to the track, and we got out, and they went back out into the fire, and we stayed there.
So you guys have become pretty close.
His wife is now my vet. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you also, I mean, you talk. I mean, you're not just, what connected for you?
Now we're Facebook friends, and we communicate. I was up there today seeing Tiffany, and we did a little thing for KZI, and I'll probably go back up this weekend. I know Wendy wanted to go up and visit.
So you got a tattoo, Tiffany, and you can show that. It's right on your chest, right up here.
Yeah.
Now, what does that say?
"No, I'm in hell up the McKenzie and more fire than I've ever seen."
And who said that?
That was the last text that Kelly sent his wife, Wendy, the night of the fire. That was the last thing she heard from him before cell towers and all communication got cut off up here.
So why did you choose to put that on your body?
It's the only thing that can kind of define the magnitude of the fire that night. I'm from Northern California. I've been through wildfires. We've evacuated. I've helped friends with their properties, but it was nothing like the Holiday Farm fire. That was hot and fast. And for somebody of, Kelly, he's not a new firefighter. He's been around the block a lot. For him to say, and more fire than he's ever seen, it puts it into perspective for a lot of people when they ask us about it. And I get asked about that tattoo a lot, and it has the impact on people that I feel like the story of the fire should.
And Kelly, you got a tattoo.
I did.
So tell us about that one.
It's kind of a memorial tattoo to the fire, and I just included a bunch of things to it. I guess you could be a memorial to the people of Blue River too. It has Tiffany's daughter's name, her sister, and her sister's daughter's name on it. Has the Blue River sign, says "Welcome to Blue River" in the tattoo, and it just has, most of it is a forest fire. At the top of it, fire helmet.
Why their names?
Just because it was a memorable moment. I mean, and I guess in the fire service, I with me, I mean, you train all your life. You do this for years and years and years. I mean, the ultimate goal is to save somebody. Snatch a life, from from the devil, and this was my moment, and I wanted to keep that with me forever.
So Tiffany, you're sitting there nodding your head. What are you thinking?
I think it's perfect because I understand the way he's saying that, to snatch a life, and that's what he did. We wouldn't have made it to them soon enough, not in a sheriff's rig, not with the 2 trees that had fallen across the road, especially the one that Kelly had to drive over, I think the tattoo is more than fitting.
So you have your 2 daughters and your sisters because that guy and his partner were willing to risk their lives to go do something.
Yep. And Kelly's even said he questioned whether they were going to be able to make it out of that or not. But they still made the choice to turn around and make sure that my daughter, my niece, and my sister were all right for as long as they could make sure of it. As long as they could guarantee it for another 5 or 10 minutes, that's what they were going to do.
And Tiffany, you still live upriver, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Why?
It's home. This community has come together after the fire so amazingly. I don't think I could move anywhere else. It wouldn't feel right.
Did the fire almost, and excuse my language and what I'm going to say here, but almost burn into existence? Like, you know what I mean? How heat can just kind of connect things, and it's like you're melted together as a place. Do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. After the fire, we went from having nothing to, we still live in a 5th wheel. I have a partially finished garage. My house is nowhere to be seen because of lumber prices, but I have a community. I have washers and dryers. I have meals whenever I need them. I have more jobs than I can count if I ever want to, keep working more than 2 jobs at a time. I have people always reaching out. Can I take Ronnie swimming? Can she come over while my niece and nephew are in town? We're stuck here in a good way, in a very, very good way.
And Kelly, what do you learn as a firefighter? What did you take away from that day that just doesn't go away?
I'm not sure, Rick. We gave our all. I was willing to, do that night, to save them people. It's just, the everlasting friendships, I guess, that we've made from what we've done up there.
Do you ever sit, like both of you, do you ever just sit and kind of, because I found myself doing this, when the smoke was coming up the other day, and I just sat out in my yard and I was like, wow, that was so close. And you were closer than me, Tiffany, way closer, and Kelly. But I think there's just thousands of Oregonians who will never be the same because we experience this. Kind of like when I had cancer, people would say, why do you have this new attitude like you can do anything? It's like, because I did have to stare death in the face, and you walked away. I didn't stare death in the face, but I looked at my house and left for the last time and honestly thought I may never see this again. And you guys, Kelly, you chose to go in and lose your life if you had to save people. And Tiffany, you chose to drive all the way back into hell. So you got out of hell and you drove back into it because your family was there. That changes you, doesn't it?
It does to a point, but it also gives you this little bit of resilience of, it's not the stuff that makes a home. I have my husband, I have my daughter, I have my community. That's home. And that's more home than it ever was with a house and a fence on the property.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes, Kelly, that you're from Junction City and now you're connected to the McKenzie Valley eternally?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's a beautiful place up there. It just, it was the first time I saw it after the fire in the daylight was I hadn't seen it other than at night and then on all the smoke. But we came back through, and it was extremely heartbreaking. I mean, it's a beautiful place up there, and it's today I was back up there again today, and it was extremely heartwarming to see people starting to rebuild.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
look at Tiffany smiling. And you see like the greenery starting to come back. I mean, and there's
all the ferns.
Don't you think, Tiffany, if you sit here and get really like, artsy and weird about this whole thing, there's something about the death and this resurrection of the ground that happens, and it happens in people too, where yes, it was hard and we lost some things, and there's still reminders of those things we lost, but then there's this new growth that's coming in, and it's taking the opportunity to do that. And you obviously got married, and things change like that. You know what I mean? It's like it makes you willing. Does it make you more willing to risk things a little bit?
No, I'm more stuck in my comfort zone now with no changes than I ever was before. I don't like change anymore. I want my old regular worn-in pants. I don't want new anymore.
Well, I think you're going to get a lot more new as you're a young kid.
Oh, I know.
I could look at you and go, yeah, you're going to get some of that. But you know what, honey? You're resilient, and you're tough as nails.
Yeah.
Does your husband tell you that?
No, he tells me I'm obnoxious and difficult, which he's right at that too.
Well, he still loves you. So what's that say about him, huh?
That's right. That's right. We're stuck rebuilding and living in a fifth wheel. So that's been fun.
Okay, you guys, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for coming on and just chatting a little bit and telling your story. I love seeing the goodness that comes out of horror. And this has been a really interesting story all the way around. And I'm so glad that Wendy called me today and said, Rick, you gotta talk to these two, because that was well worth it. So thank you both for what you do. Kelly, see you in Montana. And,
thanks, Rick.
And Tiffany, I will talk with you soon. Keep that freezer whole.
Absolutely. Oh, I will.
Okay.
Thanks for your patience.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
See ya. So that's kind of the end of a story, or actually maybe the beginning. With so much going on in the world right now and so much negativity and stuff, isn't it nice to see people coming together like that, and the memories and the stuff that happens and the goodness that can come out of really bad things. Maybe goodness will come out of all of this. I'm a strong believer that, there's a plan, and maybe we just need to step back a little bit sometimes and allow that plan to move itself out and not get in the way. So I don't know. It's a great thing. So, on the, it's a beginning. Yeah. I think the good thing, if I could get just, a little personal, I think the good thing is that once you've been through something like this, I think it makes it just, you realize it's kind of like going through cancer and all those other things. We beat it. I'm a survivor. You're a survivor. We can get through this stuff, and it can make us stronger, or it can make us bitter. And I want to choose better over bitter. And, but it also gives us a point where you can change and move into something new in your life. And maybe that's going to happen for all of us. Who knows? But on September 6th, would you guys just kind of say a little prayer for the people of the McKenzie River, because that's a heartwarming story, but there's many, many stories of people that are still trying to get money, trying to get permits from the county. God, trying to get their houses rebuilt and their lives rebuilt, and they're not. And even Tiffany said they're still living in a fifth wheeler. So there's a lot that needs to happen. And so, be praying for the people up there. If you're ever looking for rugged, you go up McKenzie River Valley. That's where the rugged people live. And I mean rugged in a really good way. All right. I am Rick Dancer. Again, we want to thank Elements Health Clubs of Lane County for sponsoring our show. 3 locations: West 11th, Springfield over by Game Farm Road, and also Oakway. And right now they're doing a special for a young man named Zayden. who is has some pretty severe cancer problems going on. You can go in and ask to find out more about that. But membership's $29 and $49 a month per person. Really nice clubs, nice gyms, and what you got to remember too is they support our community. We're doing this because they are supporting that and sponsoring these shows, and that's how we get to do what we do. All right, we will be back tonight at 5 because this was a special show. Tonight at 5 o'clock, a lot of parents are looking for new ways to educate their kids because they either don't want them wearing masks all day in schools or they don't like some of the curriculum that's being talked about. So tonight we have an organization that has some local, it's an internet school, but they're going to talk with us about some questions that people might have and how you can integrate your kids in that and also get them socialized at the same time. So to give you some options, I have a lot of people write me and say, what are we supposed to do? I don't want to put my kids in public school. I want to get them out. I want to do something else. Well, this will give you an idea. We're not trying to say this is what you need to do. We're just saying here's an option. You might check this out and find out more about it. So that's tonight at 5 o'clock right here on Get Real with Rick Dancer, sponsored by Chris Dental Family Dentistry tonight. All right. Have a good day. Thanks for being here.